We are going to talk about the situation in Hong Kong that started in the end of the 90s when the Chinese government started to have power over the Hong Kong area. Since then, there has been many protests. We are going to talk about two of those protests today, but they are all about the fact that Hong Kong people don't have the same liberty as they had before the Chinese government took place, instead of the ancient British government that has been on place for a much longer time.
So people are revolting from the common folk to the CEOs of the biggest companies in Hong Kong, and we have an example from the
30-mile-long human chain as a peaceful protest against the Chinese government. And
we also have the CEOs of the companies that are now changing the actual money they were making into Bitcoin, because it is a decentralized currency and the government can't put taxes on it, so they can't profit over the company's work. And this is the CEO's way of telling the government that they are not happy with the way they are dealing with things.
The 30-mile-long protest was inspired by another protest that happened during the Soviet Union times, when they made a much longer human chain to protest peacefully, the same way as the Hong Kong folk are doing, against the power. In this Hong Kong line, they went all around the city as a peaceful protest, such as all the other protests that they are doing. All of these protests have been peaceful protests, all of them, and the Chinese government is responding to these protests each time more and more violently, which seriously aggravates the situation. And the whole situation, all of the Hong Kong situation, currently is not having as much attention as it is needed.
More fire and fury on the streets of Hong Kong tonight. This after many protesters gathered outside the U.S. consulate today, waving American flags and pleading for help.
You have tens of thousands of demonstrators on the streets brandishing American flags. They are begging the U.S. government to diplomatically intervene in the crisis here.
People are concerned much more about the economy, even though the Hong Kong situation involves economy, such as the first article about Bitcoin says, but people are not paying as much attention.
So the Hong Kong situation reached a critical level because they aren't getting any help from the government or the attention they actually need. So things might go unchanged from here on out, and these protests may evolve into something not so peaceful, and we may get casualties from both sides and end up in the kind of toxic environment for the people and the government to interact with each other.
因為我哋已經冇晒退路，我哋太多嘅妥協啦，
所以更加要俾